Hey everybody, it's Angela and I am back with another process video, and I am doing another layout for my childhood album, and I have two pictures here, and I'm going to talk about reading books. And the picture on the right is a screen grab from a family home movie. These were back before there was sound with the home movies, and it's a really poor quality, but it shows me with some Dr. Seuss books that I received. And the picture on the left, the one I'm going to scrapbook, is much better quality because it was taken with a camera, and it's of me as an infant, and on the floor you can see the book called Clip Clop. And so since that was the only photo I had that kind of had books in them, to kind of be my intro page to this section of my childhood album, I thought I'd go ahead and use this. And I loved the book Clip Clop. Now, it's on the floor there. I'm too young to be even listening to a book, so I'm sure it must have been my brother's book. But I do remember my mom reading it to me as a little girl as well. So, and I really did love the book. It wasn't my favorite book, and I will talk about my favorite book when I go to do the pocket pages and everything. But my intro layout, I'm going to use Clip Clop. So I got some images of some of the interior pages from the book, and it's of this little horse that he's been told by the farmer that the farrier's gonna come give him new shoes, and he doesn't know what kind of shoes he's gonna get. And he looks at the kids on the farm. The boy has like cowboy boots, and he envisions himself wearing cowboy boots, and then he sees some other girls or something with saddle shoes, and he's like, oh, maybe I'll get saddle shoes. And you can see that picture there with all the different shoes. And I remember my mom asking me, well, what kind of shoes do you think Clip Clop's gonna get, or what are your favorite shoes? And I remember her really loving the shoes that had stiletto heels, because I was a girl. So I would envision that little horse wearing stilettos, and it was pretty funny. And in the end, he winds up getting like regular horseshoes, and he thinks they're the best things ever. So Clip Clop was really happy at the end of the book. And I just have good memories of my mom reading that to me, and it being in the house. And my mom, she always read to us kids. She was really good, and she would always spend time. There were always books in the house, and I just loved that. So as you can see, I kind of played around with moving the layouts or the images around the page, and I decided to do this central cluster, and I went ahead and I matted my main focal photo on some yellow and some pink. The pink, there's not much pink. There is a little pink on that picture there, that upper right hand picture of Clip Clop. There's some pink on the page, so I went ahead and went with it. I did all the rest of them in kind of a green mat to kind of bring out the green on the grass in Clip Clop on the title page there, or the front of the book. And that way it kind of kept, because my picture's really dark, so I really wanted to lighten this thing up, because we had a dark couch and red carpet. And yeah, it was just a pretty dark photo, so I wanted to make it more bright and light and lively and fun. And so that's why I'm going with all these colors from Paige Evans collections. Now, most of these are from the Oh My Heart, because I think that was like the last thing I actually purchased from like a cherry on top, was when Oh My Heart came out, and I treated myself to quite a bit of the collection. So I'm getting down there on it. I still have a little bit left, but I've done pretty good at using it all up. And I know that it has books in that collection. Now, Paige Evans also did another collection called Turn the Page, which has books in it. And I don't have the papers from that, but I do have a few of the ephemera, and I think like a chipboard pack or something that I got at Tuesday Morning when those came out. But I don't think Tuesday Morning ever got the paper, so I don't have any of that. So pretty much I just went through all of the Paige Evans stash that I had and pulled those out, and decided to go with the flowers to, like I said, brighten it up and lighten it up and make it a little more fun. And I do put some books in this, but I don't go too heavy on the theme on this one, the book theme itself. So I've gone through the ephemera, taken out pieces here that I can scatter around the page and kind of beef up this cluster. I put one of the like tags that has a grid design on it, so that would make it easy for me to do some journaling on there as well. Now there's one of the books. I don't wind up using it on this page. I wind up using these that are like sitting on a shelf, and I put that on this layout. The green book I do use when I go to do my pocket pages, and I'm going to do this similar to like I did the cartoon one, where I do an introductory layout and then some pocket pages of some of my favorite books as a kid. And I'm just really having fun with this. I'm going to go through, a lot of different aspects of life, and, go through TV shows, go through food, kitchen things, toys, all that kind of stuff from when I was growing up. And so you'll have to let me know, what your favorite book was when you were growing up, and if any of the ones in the pocket pages that I show are ones that you actually read. There's just so many children's books out there. I'm sure that there's, we've all had some crossover or some similarities, but I think that there's just so many books that we, couldn't read them all as kids, and so I'm sure we've each got different favorites. So it'll be interesting to hear what other people's favorite childhood books were. So as you can see, I'm just pulling out something to use as a title. So I'm going to go with this word explore, because books to me just mean like exploring and, using your mind's eye and going somewhere in a book. And so I kind of really liked that as my title. And you can see that some of these flowers I put up on foam tape just to give a little dimension, because I didn't want everything on this page to be glued directly down onto the page. I just put a little bit of fun foam behind there, and I'm using my Scotch tacky glue to glue everything down, along with my tape runner. And so I'm really liking this. And it was pretty easy to find images of books that I had read, and plus some of the books I still have in my collection today, some of my childhood favorites that I've kept just, for my friends' kids or my grandkids or whoever visits to be able to read and look at. So a lot of these I still have. I don't have Clip Clop though. It'd be cool to find a copy of it somewhere. I think they might have redone it, but I'm not sure. This is like a 1950s version of this book. So yeah, I decided to go ahead and mat this layout on a piece of paper just because it was looking a little barren around the edges there. So I'm just trimming off around to kind of get my design central on here. And then I'm going to put it on this another piece of Oh My Heart paper with the polka dots. I think that just brings a little bit of fun into the page and just kind of frames it nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and stick that down. And that is pretty much going to be my layout, besides, putting on some of the journaling and stuff about my mom reading that book to us and always having books in the house. Oh, I do put, instead of using enamel dots, I use some of these little flower stickers from, I believe that's the Turn My Page puffy stickers. And I have 2 packs of those, so I break into the second pack here to get more of those little flowers. And I'm just putting 3 clusters of those, almost like splatters or enamel dots, treating it kind of the same way. And it kind of just brings that color out to the edges towards that frame in the background. I put a couple butterflies on the flowers as well, just to give another texture too. And then I'm going to move on to my pocket pages. Now I've used some 3x4 or 4x6 cards there along the left, and then some papers from the Oh My Heart 6x6 paper pad for those 2 pockets on the right. And I've stuck down, like, that's the Alice in Wonderland book that I remember. It was the first book my mom read to us that was a chapter book without any pictures. So we had to kind of be quiet and listen to it and kind of envision. So that was the first time I had ever heard Alice in Wonderland. And then I also have there On the Banks of Plum Creek. I'm sure a lot of you have either read that. I never actually watched the show very much, but I did love the books as a child. I loved reading those. So I went ahead and put that on there. I also have in that center left card some of the, I believe it's called I Can Read books. It was a series of books for beginner readers, and I loved Little Bear. I loved when they would make soup in Little Bear, and then I also have Pickles the Fire Cat. And I think I have some more here on the next pages that are from the I Can Read series. So I loved that. You can see in the upper right, I have Meg and Trixie Belden there. I had kind of stopped reading when I was about 8 or 9 years old, kind of gotten out of the habit, and my aunt bought me 6 Meg books for Christmas one year, and I didn't really read them until I got really bored one day, and I read one of the Meg books, and I got totally back into reading. I read all 6 Meg books, and then I asked my mom about finding more of those, and so she put me onto Trixie Belden, and then I went through all those as well. I wish I still had those books. Unfortunately, those did not remain in my collection. I gave them away to someone else who I hoped enjoyed them, and it became part of their childhood memories as well. Now this one here is another I Can Read, and it had a little puzzle in it where you could only read the note if you held it up to a mirror. And I remember sitting in my bedroom behind my door where I had a mirror on the back of the door, and seeing that message and reading it in the mirror, and I thought that was so cool. It was the first time I'd ever thought about seeing something backwards in a mirror. So I'm just kind of writing a little bit about that. And then the ones right underneath the card I'm writing on, you can see the goose's head kind of poking up there, is Petunia. And I love that book. I still have that book in my collection today. I think all 3 on that card I have copies of. Not all of them are the original ones I had as a child. I've found a couple at like Goodwills and stuff that I put back in my collection for the grandkids and visitors and stuff. So I had also Aesop's Fables there, and then Otto, A Fish Out of Water. And when I had Otto, it was just a standalone book, and later I think it got pulled into the Dr. Seuss library of books. So I think you can find it now within all those Dr. Seuss books. It wasn't written by Dr. Seuss, but it's like in his library or something. I don't know exactly how they do that, but I don't know if there's any other Dr. Seuss fans out there. I was a total Dr. Seuss fan, and my mom would actually ask me to bring home ones from the library when I was in grade school, because she loved reading them to me as well. She loved all the tongue twisters and stuff like that. So that is all the books on this page. And then I go ahead and I'm going to have two pocket pages of books, so four different sides on this. And besides just writing on them, I'm trying to remember to use some stickers, some labels, and other like puffy stickers and things like that, just to give a little bit more texture, a little bit of shine, like this foil label that I have here, and yeah, just bring a little bit more interest and decoration to each of the cards. So I'm going to use this Paige Evans ephemera piece and put that there under Flat Stanley. I'm sure a lot of you have read Flat Stanley. I know he had kind of a resurgence later, maybe in, I don't know, like the 80s or 90s, so that was kind of cool. And the one on the upper left there, Big Max, is another one of those I Can Read books, and I just loved that one. It was kind of a mystery novel, so it was like my very first mystery novel. And below that I have The Thing at the Foot of the Bed, which were some scary stories. And then I have the boxed set of The Chronicles of Narnia. That's a very popular one as well. I still have that box set to this day. Below that I have The Misty of Chincoteague, and there's a little tugboat called Little Toot that I have on there that was really cute. I think that was one of my brother's books, but I loved it as well. The upper right, I have some of the Beatrix Potter. Those were smaller sized books, so I loved how tiny they were and all the images that were in them, and I would check them out from the grade school library all the time. And then I have Andrew Henry's Meadow, which I also love the storyline, and actually found some reprinted books of that to give to my grandchildren as gifts, to give them something that, you know, I read as a child, and it's a good story for either boys or girls. And then this last pocket page, I have 4 4x6 cards and 4 3x4 or 2x4 cards, right? Yeah. And so that used up a lot of my Project Life cards, which is cool. I have Clifford the Big Red Dog, which is really popular. And then a little golden book. I loved Little Golden Book and all the images. This was the counting book that had all the animals in it. So I thought that was really cool. Below that, I have the Arch books, which were like Bible stories that they had little records, little 45s that would go with them, and it would always ding and tell you when to turn the page. So I loved those. In that central column that my hand's kind of over is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I loved that book. I tried reading Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator, but never, you know, quite got into it. Below that, again, my hand is over, I'm sorry about that, is another Little Golden Book. To the right of that card, you can see I used that bad image of me receiving my Dr. Seuss books and record, and I found an image of that I put underneath, and I just loved that. I've got it memorized pretty much to this day. Below that one in the bottom right hand corner, I have 2 books that I read in high school. I would walk down the library aisles and run my hands across and then stop and read whatever my hand was still on, and I loved those 2 books, Troubled Waters and Over My Dead Body. Then I have some National Geographics, that with the dog sledding. We had a series of those. And then the Highlights magazine, which was really popular. It had a lot of puzzles and things like that in it, which was a lot of fun as a kid. On the flip side of that, and I'm sorry I'm going a little fast because I don't want to bore you guys, on these family ones you can always just skip to the end to see the layout if you don't want to see the pocket pages. So on this one I have the Choose Your Own Adventures. I love those. I still have about 40 of those today. I have Robert Louis Stevenson's Child's Garden of Verses, and I also have 2 books that my aunt had brought back from Hawaii, the Malia, which a head and legs would swing out of that book, and then you could turn the pages to show all her outfits. And then to the right of that is the Uma Uma Nuka Nuka Apua book about the fish and how it got its name. This was a little drawing book that kind of showed me the first things of drawing. And to the left of that is A Wrinkle in Time, and I know there's a new movie that came out on that. I may have to watch it. Wrinkle in Time was a little confusing for me to read. I was in grade school at the time, I think like 5th or 6th grade. I really liked the book, but I had a little hard time following some of the plot. So maybe I should reread it as an adult or watch the movie. I don't know. If you guys have seen the movie and it's pretty good, let me know. And then of course I've got Tweety in there. And then on the bottom right is the Wildlife Encyclopedia. And my parents got a full set of these, which were awesome. Not only because I loved animals and would look through those all the time, but because it worked out great for writing reports. You know, back then you didn't have the internet or anything. All you had were encyclopedias and any kind of research books at your school library to look at. So to have this little library at home was, you know, made everything so much easier. We had a set of Encyclopedia Britannicas, and then we had this Wildlife Encyclopedia set. So it really helped me out with reports and stuff. So here I found a little puffy sticker of a record that I put on there. I'm looking for like dogs to go with any dog books or birds or rainbows, things that would fit with the story on the card, or just things that say like love this or documented. There's always some kind of generic terms you can use for some of these stickers. So that pretty much gets everything, you know, all my journaling on everything and a few extra decorations on each of the cards. And so it kind of just brings all these things from my childhood into one spot. And I'm loving how this is going. Now, my most favorite book of all is this one. This was called Apricot ABC. I think it came out in like 1969. I love the imagery. I love the drawing, the line drawings. And so I have this, I have the book. I also have the dust jacket. So I'm going to put the dust jacket in here. And I'm going to put a little card in there just talking about, you know, how my mom, I had her read that over and over and over and over again, poor lady. So yeah, that's my favorite book. So this is the final layout and the close-ups of that. It's kind of my introductory to the book section. So there's a close-up of the book cover, and then me and my brother and the book on the floor at his feet, and then just some the interior pages and my journaling and lots of the Page Evans, Oh My Heart, and Turn the Page collections used on this. And I love how it made it seem brighter using all that white and lighter colors. It kind of lightened that whole photo up. Here are the close-ups of the pocket pages. Just going here, a lot of the I Can Read books that I loved to as a child, and some of these that I still have in my collection today. Some more Page Evans ephemera. These, my first mystery books. I still read a lot of mystery books to this day. And there's Flat Stanley. I always wanted to be mailed like that. I thought that would be so cool. I could go to other countries and stuff. There's another I Can Read book. And then this last pocket page with Clifford. And I had to make sure to get some little golden books in here. Some of these Bible story books, the little magazines we'd get, some high school books. So I do have some middle school and high school things that I read that I particularly remembered. So that was good to be able to get not only, you know, little kid books and things that I remembered from grade school, but also a couple from, you know, more middle school and high school age. Then some books that my aunt had gotten us. I love those encyclopedias. And then my first book on drawing that really got me into drawing. And then, of course, the Choose Your Own Adventures. I love those books. So that is the completed section for my books. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I sure am enjoying making this album, and I think, you know, it opens up a lot of talking points for people who are visiting and stuff like that. And it's just, yeah, I'm just having fun. Let me know in the comments what your favorite book is, and or if you've read any of these, if you had any of these as a kid. I would love to hear from you and, you know, see what other books are popular out there, and maybe get some for my grandchildren if they're ones that I've never read, and, you know, things I can find at maybe Goodwills and when I'm out thrifting and stuff. So that is the completed section. I'm going to leave it like this and put the 8.5 by 11 dust jacket kind of in between, and then the layout will go on the top. So again, thank you guys for watching and sticking with me through this kind of long video. If you have any questions or anything, just leave them down below, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.